Oh, hello everybody, welcome Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday. We got caught a little bit offside here as we're having conversations on the side. I suppose we should do that when we're ready to get going with the show. It's Cape Rugby TV, it's Wednesday night. And of course, it's the 7 series. That's what it was all about over the weekend. I think 22 teams went down to Kuils River to go and play in the Western Province Rugby 7 series. Fantastic stuff. And of course, there was some Springbok rugby as well at the World Cup. We will talk about that a little bit later. But it's 7s now. That's what we've been waiting for after the league. It finished in the Western Province Rugby Awards, of course, from last week. But now it is a 7s, a number of teams playing. Let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Isma, Dollie. Hello, Ish.
Hi JP, good to be back on the show.
It was all 7s this weekend, eh?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it's mid-October, and you'd think that we'd be preparing and just resting and recuperating after a long rugby season. But no, as Capetonians, we have other plans.
Yeah, no, we do. Ricky Petersen, you're a 7 specialist, so it's fantastic to have you here.
JP, like you tried a very long time to get me back on the show. I think 2 weeks ago you actually mentioned something about you need to find out where's Ricky. Well, I'm back here now.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
You see, when we can't find you, we just put it on TV, and then the whole house neighborhood comes out and they go, look, where's Ricky? It's a little bit like Finding Nemo. We just go finding Ricky. All right, folks, it was 7s rugby at Kuils River. A number of teams that participated, 22 teams in all, and it didn't take long for us to put this competition together, but the guys at Western Province Rugby threw it together in a matter of days. The clubs jumped on, and for the first one, it was quite a big success. And we're, of course, hoping that this 7th series is going to grow from strength to strength. Let's check out our first match of the day. Of course, there were a number of matches. Most teams played 3 matches on the day. But we'll first check out our first match of the day, Eerste against St. George's. And we're going to take you through some of the highlights, and we're going to, during the course of the show, try and show you a snippet from at least every team that played on the day. So the first one we bring you is St. George's against Eerste.
Was lekker hier zo bij Kela vandaag, zien uit naar volgende week. Eerste Rugby!
Eerste Rugby!
Eerste Rugby!
Right, there you go, folks. Our first match of the day, Eerste against St. George's. St. George's winning their 15-5. Now, Eerste went on then to play against Macassar. They lost to Macassar at 10 points to 19, and Eerste of course, went down to Stellenbosch as well. 48 points to 14. All right, so just let's look at the teams one at a time. Both Eerste and St. George's can play a dangerous brand of 7s rugby.
Absolutely, and I mean, we just spoke about it now. Technically, that is a Super C team putting itself against a Super A team. And that's the only way you're going to see it happen in a 7th circuit. And it gives those guys an opportunity to sort of judge themselves
But
against.
Can we really measure it like that? I mean, to say a Super League A side is in club rugby is going to have a great 7 side, because we've seen some lower league 7s teams come out and have fantastic results against top guys.
But that's the beauty about the 7s. I mean, at 7 on 7, whether you're playing in the Super A or the Super C, the league doesn't really matter. It's what happens on the day. And Pedro April, who's the coach of yesterday, he puts in a lot of hard work. Danton September showed some good touches for the ball in hand. So I think even though they lost the match and the rest of the matches, they showed some good touches in the games.
Ricky, St George's 15-5 Eerste-Rivier. What do you make of the score? 15-5. That's only three tries, and in a sevens game.
Well, JP, any circuit, the guys' engines blow cold in the beginning. You know, once you get past the first game, the first game is normally one of your toughest games when it comes to any circuit, any level. And once the guys get going, normally by your second game they find their rhythm. And let's face it, a lot of these teams didn't actually train a lot. You know, they didn't get time. The guys can't get to the field. And the first game or your first tournament will always be on a kind of a low key. And as they go along, these guys just get better. I mean, Eerste-Rivier will perhaps win Marties the next time, you know. These guys just get better, but it's like he says, it's like a fair ground. When these guys meet one another technically, sevens, it's a fair ground, you know. It's skill versus skill. And
you're talking about the skill. I mean, your I know it was the first day, the first weekend of sevens. Just your gut feeling looking at the Eerste-Rivier St George's game. We're still obviously going to look at a lot of the other games during the show, but your feeling on the technical side?
Both teams have been playing this game for very, very long, both Eerste-Rivier and St George's. I look at the St George's team, they have a lot of youngsters in the St George's team, you know, and I think that is also good. You look at Eerste-Rivier, I see they also have a lot of youngsters in the team, but if you look at the experience-wise, St George's is trying to bring new guys through, younger guys through to get them experience, and what better way to make these guys play? And I think they've done well. Some of these youngsters that I've seen, they've done quite well. Yeah,
you got to get a run, eh?
You got to get a run.
And I think this is a perfect platform to give those guys an opportunity, especially to mix it up with one or two first-team experienced guys. And that can be your gauge going into the off-season and the pre-season of next year and seeing, okay, they did pretty well against your Marties and your St George's. Why not let's give them a shot in the first team, in the 15-man's game?
Yeah. Just before we go to some of the St George's results, folks, Hisense is, of course, our technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. And if you want to win for yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse cell phone, then all you need to do is tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. There you see it on the screen right now. You can win for yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse LTE L682. It's got KitKat, Android 4.4, a 5-inch multi-touch screen, 4G LTE dual SIM, 8 megabyte or at least megapixel rear camera with a LED flash on the front, 5 megabyte pixel camera, and of course a 16 gigabyte memory with a 1 gig RAM. Just tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. A little bit later in the show, we're going to announce last week's winner, which will of course be our first Hisense winner. But remember, you can go on to Facebook right now and just tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. Let's look at the results from St George's now. They of course played their first sevens match against Eerste-Rivier, and there you see it, St George's 15-5 over Eerste-Rivier. St George's 33-17 over Elsies, and then St George's 33-17 against Elsies Rivier. All right, so then St George's 1, 2, 3 victories on the trot. Good start for St George's. Let's check out the match now between Strand Rugby Football Club and Marties. Folks, that was of course Strand against Marties or Stellenbosch. A little bit later we'll show you what the logs look like. every team during the season gets to play against every other team. So on the first day it was 3 games. Each team played 3 matches. And of course they'll be going into the Cup final, the Plate final, Shield and the Bowl. So 16 teams will be going through to the finals of the Western Province Rugby Sevens tournament. But just looking at some of those results then, Strand 24-7 over Macassar. It was also then Strand went down to Marty's, as you saw in the highlights package, and then Strand pulled one off right at the end of the day, beating Noordlikus 33 points to 17. If we look at the Stellenbosch results now, this is on the flip side. Marty's having a clean sweep as well, really showing their strength. 33-7 over Elsie's Rivier. Stellenbosch then went on to beat Eerste Rivier 48-14, and Stellenbosch beating Strand, as you saw, 19 points to 12. All right, gents, let's take a look at Strand against Macassar. They come from the same neck of the woods. But Strand, of course, here they've now managed to win 2 out of their first 3 games-ish. But just looking at the guys, a couple of goose steps there.
Couple of hard steppers.
Yeah.
Sevens Rugby, I don't know if it was born in Strand, but every single team in Strand just comes out with an exciting, dynamic style of Sevens Rugby, and Strand is no different to any other Strand team. They've obviously got promotion from Super C to Super B, so the energy in the club is great. Ali Harris, who's the coach, is doing wonders at the club. So very happy for them, and some exciting young talent come through.
Any advice for Strand at this stage, Ricky?
Well, if you
I
look
mean,
at
what do you, sorry to interrupt you, but what do you look at when you start giving advice and considering that there's 5 weeks left?
well, are you talking about team-wise or player-wise, JP?
Well, both.
Well, if you look at a sevens player, firstly, he's got to pass the ball both sides at least 10 meters, 12 meters, left or right. He's got to have great vision. He's got to have know how to switch the ball from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. You know, physicality will always play an important role when it comes to certain teams. You look at Strand, they play a brand of rugby. They try to keep the ball alive. They try to avoid contact as much as possible because they do not have the ball for it. You know, when they took on a team like Marty's later saw we need to create vacuums. You know, use our physicality to get those three or four players to come tackle us and then get the ball out, and that's how you score tries. But I think what Strand has, they got the fitness. They will make tackles after tackles after tackles, and they will keep on tackling until you make a mistake. And once they get turnover ball, they spread that ball wide and try to keep that ball alive. So they do have a very dynamic and exciting way of playing the game, and they've done it for years like that way.
Would you say that? I mean, it's almost the sevens has become quite scientific. I mean, I've watched you guys. If you really know when to offload at the right time, make all your tackles, then you're creating overlaps. I mean, what are the kind of? I know that there's 100 things you could probably, but the little things, because it looks to me like you mentioned turnover balls, that if you're getting turnover balls, you're going to score.
Exactly, and talking about turnover balls, JP, you take the Currie Cup for instance. You get guys like Kwagga playing for the Lions or Cheston playing and Sonata playing for Western Province. You know, back in the days, normally, and Ish can be my witness, when you make a tackle, you would expect the Lucy to come and help you steal the ball. These days, every guy that makes a tackle, get up on his feet, show daylight and steal the ball. Now, if you look at those sevens players, those skills come through in 15 man.
Yeah.
And these guys, you see Strand play, when they make tackle, they do exactly the same thing as the way they play sevens, you know. That helped them beat the physical guys, you know. Before they get to the ruck, the ball is gone already. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Ish, I mean, we've obviously all been watching the All Blacks play lately, but one of the things that I noticed about the All Blacks, and I think we spoke about it when we were at Kales River, when we were standing on the side of the field there, was that at any given time, if any All Black player threw the ball left or right without having to look, somebody would be there to take the ball on.
I think we spoke about it, and it's support play. Like the All Blacks, various teams have specific guys that are specialities at offloading, and as a player, if I know that that person is got that speciality, I'm going to be on his back all the time, because 90% of the time he's going to throw an offload, I'm going to be there in support. And
but the thing is that if you've got a player like that, what I noticed about the All Black is that there would always be, if you took a Sonny Bill Williams or it doesn't matter who you took, there would always be a support runner on the left and the right. So wherever he chose to throw the ball,
there's someone.
without looking to see, he would just throw the ball and somebody would be there to catch the ball.
I think if I can come in there, JP, I mean, anticipation is it's a big thing when it comes to rugby. Not just 15s or not just 7s, 15s as well. And that is the way the All Blacks play. They anticipate, you know. They know they have to be there, whether it's on the left or the right. And the guy running with the ball has got vision, you know.
Yeah.
He's got to have vision. And when you pop the ball, he knows there has to be someone there because that's the way you train. And you also got to know your players. I always say that in every team you have 1, 2, 3 magicians in your team. And I use an example like Magician Dynamo. He can't make magic with 50 other people helping him make that happen, you know what I'm saying? Now those guys now already, those are the magicians, but we're going to have to make the magic happen once he goes through a gap or something like that.
But it's as much as it's a skill that we've got to train, it's a mindset and it's a cultural thing as well. New Zealanders based on skill, based on attacking space, whereas other nations might be, you know, targeting a specific man and not be able to offload.
I just noticed that the other nations, I see them lying in these long, deep, straight lines, and the All Blacks don't do that anymore. They lie flat, and they're just running 2 men on it behind every runner. Anyway, all right, folks. There's a little tip. If you watch the next game, you'll see exactly what it is that I mean. Tygerberg were up against Macassar. Let's catch the highlights there. Right, folks, that's of course Tygerberg against Macassar. The West Province Rugby 7 series, we're taking a look at that for the next 5 weeks. It's going to be one of the most exciting rugby tournaments that we've seen in a very long time. It allows the players from all clubs to participate in 7s. So if you're at a club, you ask your club, can we go and play in the 7s? There's 22 teams playing. I think there's still might be 2 wildcard spots. You'd have to ask Western Province about that. Now, at Kuils River, it wasn't just rugby. It was massively social. The Briar Flazers were going, the Boerewors stands were going, and then it was really, really exceptional. We're going to talk more about the 7 series and the social aspects around the 7 series. And of course, this weekend is at Helderberg. That's at the Charles Morkel Stadium. Let's quickly look at Tygerberg's results. Noordlikers, 12-all against Tygerberg. And then Tygerberg, well, they went on to beat Macassar 17-12, as you saw in the clip. And then Tygerberg, at the end of the day, the very last match of the day, Tygerberg beat Kuils River 19 points to 12. All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at that then. Tygerberg drawing with Noordlikers. Ricky, it's as you said, first game is a warm-up game.
First game, warm-up game. Then the second game they played Northerns. And then, you know, what teams must understand is that you do not underestimate any team on this circuit. You understand? Like he said, you have a Super C team playing as a Super A team. 7s is fair ground. And if you make mistakes, those are the teams that's going to, you know, bite out on it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when I think the Tygerberg had a little bit of scuffle between one another, the players and like that, and Northerns grabbed the opportunity. Yeah, you got
to stay focused all the time.
You got to stay focused. Look, let's face it, this game
it's only 14 minutes.
Exactly. And besides, JP, I
can't concentrate for 7 minutes, but I mean.
And guess what? This game is measured in seconds, not in minutes.
Yeah.
15s is measured in minutes. 7s is measured in seconds, and you got to stay focused every second.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's Tygerberg then, of course, as we saw in the clip against Macassar, beating Macassar. But Macassar's a dangerous 7 side, so Tygerberg seemed to already be stamping their mark.
A guy like Lester Phillips, really showing his mark. Ricky just said that this was his first Sevens tournament. He played in the Western Province emerging team, and he's one to look out for the next couple of weeks. But Tygerberg is an experienced team. I mean, they come out of good hands.
I think Brandel is coaching Brandel Brunt.
Yep, Brandel Brunt, and he's doing a good job. I mean, he's got some experienced players with him, and a lot of youngsters showing what they're worth.
All right, then of course, let's take a look at the Macassar results now. Macassar beating Yesterofir, 19 points to 10. Macassar then going, as you saw in the clip, going down to Tygerberg, 17-12, and then as we saw previously, Strand beating Macassar 24 points to 7. Okay, so those are your Macassar results and your Tygerberg results. Remember, folks, Hisense is, of course, the technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. If you want to win for yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse a cell phone, a LTE L682 with the Android 4.4 and a 5-inch multi-touch screen, and then just go onto Facebook right now and tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. A little bit later in the show, we will announce for you who the winner is of our very first Hisense Infinity Pulse. When we come back, we'll carry on with Sevens Rugby from Western Province Rugby, and we'll start off then with Scottsdene against Belleville. We'll be back after the break. There we go, folks. Welcome back, Cape Rugby TV. www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. That's where you can find us on Facebook, and of course enter that Hisense competition. Just tell us who is the official technical partner. Scottsdene were up over the weekend. One of their first games was against Belleville. So let's check the highlights. Belleville and Scottsdene.
Yeah, it was a nice day. Didn't get our way in the first two games, but we came back strongly and we beat Kraaifontein. It was a derby for us. Quite happy with the result, 25. We'll take it any day.
Nice couple of nice comments there from Regan Marcus from Scottsdene. Of course, Regan designed the West Province Rugby Sevens logo, and he also designed the President's Cup Challenge logo. So thanks to Regan and the boys. Let's quickly look there at the results from Scottsdene. Well, they went down to Belleville, 22 points to 5. They beat Kraaifontein 20 points to 5, and they lost to Keljover 33 points to 0. A little bit later, we'll take a look and see where Scottsdene is sitting on the log. Ish nice open running rugby, but didn't all go Scottsdene's way.
No, not all Scottsdene's way, but Belleville showed some good touches.
Yeah.
Got some physical and some big boys with him. I'm sure Scottsdene will bounce back next week. I mean, this is a long tournament. I mean, we've got next week, we've got the following week, we've got the next couple of weeks. So it's a nice feeler for them to see, and obviously this will give them a good idea of what's to come.
What to expect, yeah, because we can expect some good, dangerous running rugby from Scottsdene. But you mentioned Belleville. Let's take a look at the Belleville's results. Of course, Scottsdene had that match against Belleville. So Belleville beating Kraaifontein 24 points to 10. Belleville also beating Scottsdene, as you saw in the clip, 22-5, and then Belleville 47-5 over Peninsula. Gents, this means that Belleville are top of the log. We'll go through the log a little bit later, but it's 3 straight wins, a points difference, puts them on top of the log. Ricky, having watched on Saturday, how much of a threat will Belleville be, or is it too early to tell?
Too early to say, definitely too early to say, but they knowing that they're topping the log, that's confident. That's going to give them much more confidence going into the next circuit. So Yeah, but they also know now everybody's going to come for them. That's for sure.
Yeah, you got to be careful now. I mean, of course, you got to look at who they played against. They played against Kraaifontein, Scottsdene, and Peninsula. Peninsula and Scottsdene not getting off the mark that well. So, like you say, maybe we can't read too much into Belleville's victories just yet.
I mean, they could get Falls Bay, UWC, and maybe the Western Province Academy next week, and then it could be a total different ball game. But that's the beauty about
Hands and hearts.
Well, hands and hearts.
Hands and hearts is enough to punish anybody.
Yeah.
I think they've beaten some of the big dogs before.
Let's not go there, JP.
Yeah. No, but I mean, so far we know that there are a couple of very dangerous seven sides out there. And if I think of just off the top of my head, I would think of teams like Belhar, St George's, Hands and Hearts. Yeah, we've seen some Strand. I think they've also done particularly well. So we've seen some. Obviously, Marties have done well, but we've seen some great teams out there in terms of their results. All right, folks, we're going to take an ad break, and when we come back from the ad break, we will take a look at the matches between Goodwood, Marties, and Elsie Srafir, all in the sevens action. Back in a sec. All right, folks, as we promised before the break, that we are going to now start focusing on the matches between Goodwood, Marties, and Elsie Srafir. So let's start off now. The match there, Goodwood against Hands and Hearts, who we spoke about earlier on.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Rainbow Boys could pull up three victories for the day. Yeah, but maybe next week we can do much more better.
So Goodwood, Hands and Hearts. Let's take a look at the rollout of the Goodwood results. Goodwood, Hands and Hearts, and of course Goodwood going down there 45 points to 0 against Hands and Hearts. Hands and Hearts again showing just how dangerous they can be. Solarians beat Goodwood 14-12, and then Goodwood went down to Whistling Wheels 28-0. So a couple of up and down results there. Now let's take a look at the Hands and Hearts result, the contrast there. Hands and Hearts beating Goodwood 45-0, and then Hands and Hearts beating UWC 21-19. And then Hands and Hearts beating False Bay 17 points to 12. Right, let's take a look at the log before we go any further, so we can give you a little bit more commentary in terms of the log and have you understand where the log is as well. Okay, so there you can see it clearly now. Belleville are top of the pile. They've all played their 3 games. You can see now the teams that won 3. Belleville have won 3 out of 3. Stellenbosch have won 3 out of 3. Durban have won 3 out of 3. And the Hands and Hearts have won 3 out of 3. So there's your top 4 contenders so far, sitting on 15, 14, 14, 13 points. And then, of course, at the bottom is Peninsula, Scottsdene, and Macassar. We'll come back to these results from time to time, but Belleville, Stellenbosch, Durban, and Hands and Hearts are your top of the pile goers at the moment. For Hands and Hearts, you can see where they are at the moment. They're also starting. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. They're a dangerous side. I know Ricky says it's too early to say, but I think they're going to go far.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they're running quite high in terms of confidence. I mean, they're President's Cup winners of Super B, and some very good players in their side. Gershwin Manuel, the centre. Peter Links, the coach, is doing wonders, been bringing youngsters through, and unbelievable talent like a law.
How much would they have taken as a team? I mean, a lot of the guys would be. Some of the clubs said that they wouldn't get their sevens guys together on time. Although the clubs that made an effort quickly got the sevens team. Like there was not even a drop of sevens. Yeah, we're in. The boys are still wanting to play. We played. People often say, "Oh, there's too much rugby," but when you made a tournament, there's too much rugby story went out the window in no time at all. The guys that have got second team and third teams and reserve leagues, they found the players and the players just put up their hands and they said, "We want to play." Now, I would imagine for the guys like Hands and Hearts, after having such a successful run of the President's Cup, Ricky, they would have pulled out, and winning that President, they would have pulled a lot of strength from that.
I think, JP, when it comes to sevens, Hands and Hearts has got some of the best reputation when it comes to this game. They've been a force for years to be.
But they didn't have to go find players.
Not necessarily. They have a lot of talent, whether it's a third team, under 20 players come. Once again, sevens is a fair ground for everybody.
But I think the point that I'm trying to get to is that there was a perception that a lot of players would be packing up their boots after the last league game. They wait for the awards, they have a couple of drinks, and they say, "We'll see you in 2016. Ish.
Some teams are seven specialist teams, and these guys look forward to when it's sevens tournaments. They actually ask the clubs to sort of invite the clubs to various sevens tournaments in order for them to partake. Hands and Hearts is no different. I know at the beginning of last year they entered into a specific tournament and they won that tournament up the West Coast. So these guys come out of the woodwork, especially when it's sevens, because sevens for them is absolutely fun. It's
even if they didn't play in the league.
Even if they didn't play in the league, you'll see guys that you've never seen before.
So the reality is that every club has got a couple of hundred members, that if you want to find a sevens team, you just need 15 guys to play, to bring to the game. I mean, I think Silvertree arrived with 7 or 8 players. That just shows yes. They said, "Boys, it doesn't matter if we can't bring 15 or 20 or 30 players. If we've got 7 guys to play, let's come and play. Let's go have a game of rugby."
Exactly. I mean, Salodians came with 9 guys. They played.
Yeah.
They finished their day. They ended up with just 7 players playing, but they finished all 3 of their games. I mean, it's good to see that.
Absolutely. I mean, I take my hat off to all the clubs that have put their hand into this. I mean, a lot of other clubs would have said, "You know what, it's been a long season and let's just take a break." But these clubs have sort of said, "You know what, there's still an opportunity for us to play rugby. Still an opportunity for us to keep our club together and to keep us
But
going."
isn't that exactly what it's about, is keeping your club together? You can't, if you're going to have a community facility, you can't have the approach of, after the last game we lock the doors, we batten up the hatches, we put down the wire grid, and we'll see you guys in 6 months' time. The club facility is there to look after the community. You must keep the club busy.
12 months throughout the year. And what was great to see on Saturday was the gears and the vibe that the games were played in. I mean, there was definitely a competitive edge to it, but there was no malice, there was no off-the-ball incidents. And I mean, these are clubs from various leagues, all coming together at one specific ground. And for me, the amazing part was just everyone had a good time. If there was a late tackle, the guy would pull him back up again.
All right, the next game we're going to take a look at here is St. George's against Elsie Shafir. Let's catch up these highlights.
exciting day, JP. Great seeing some new talent, youngsters playing, all the clubs. I think there's 22 clubs here today. Good talent, good showcase of rugby. Sevens especially, they did very well.
So at St George's and Elsie's Rafir, a couple of good results there. Elsie's then, if we take a look at the other results that Elsie's Rafir came up with, beat Whistling Wills 10 points to 7. They went down to Stellenbosch 33-7, and then Elsie's, of course, as you saw in the clip, losing to St George's 33-17. All right, guys, Elsie's didn't go their way. They're rather low on the log, Ricky, but they obviously hoping to climb.
Let me start by saying I take my hat off for Elsie's. They just had their prize giving a night before this tournament. They came out and they came to play. I take my hat off for them. That's called sportsmanship, you know. And the guys still came out and they had a great time on the field. And I saw some great skilled players over there. Big boys with speed. Yeah, I must say.
But the beauty here, of course, is that 16 teams are going to play in the finals. So it doesn't really. I mean, you don't have to worry about that you're bottom of the log, because the top 4 will be in the cup, the next 4 will be in the shield, the next 4 will be in the bowl, the next 4 will be in the plate, or one of those sequences. But that means that
everyone will be playing.
16 teams are going to be playing in the finals. We're not sure where the finals are yet. So, folks, by the way, you need to pay very careful attention to social media, this TV show, fixtures, newsletters, Twitter, and everything else where we publicize Club Rugby about the location. Okay, so this week it's at Helderberg, at the Charles Morkel Stadium. So it is, that's the place that you need to get to. You need to bring your braaivleis, bring your skottelbraais, bring your boerewors. Ricky, you're a Helderberg, former Helderberg coach. You're from that neck of the woods. How social can it get at Helderberg?
Very social. One of the most passionate areas when it comes to rugby. I have to brag about that, JP. That's the honest
Is
truth.
the field conducive for people like this who wants to come with a cooler box?
Oh, definitely. There's even with 2 cooler boxes, you want to come with 2 cooler boxes.
You mean they sell the cooler boxes like you rent a cooler box?
You can rent it over there as well, yeah.
Okay. So there's lots of. What about parking?
Enough parking.
More than enough.
More than enough parking for everybody, yeah.
Okay.
I think there will be a very, very good vibe over there.
Is there a bar?
Ah, there's a big bar.
There's a big bar.
There's a big bar.
Right.
Those guys love their bars over there on that side.
Okay. I just want to make sure there's refreshments.
Enough.
Ishmael Dollie gets very thirsty. Okay, he's not going to go to the bar. He's going to go to get. He'll send me into the bar to go and get. What exactly is it that I'm supposed to fetch? It's
Strictly water.
Sparkling water. Sparkling water. You're more of a champagne. I mean, it's sparkling.
Easy there.
Yeah, I'm the sparkling champagne drinker. You're the sparkling water drinker. I've never quite gotten into the sparkling water. I've never got the concept of sparkling water. Why sparkling water?
It gives you a taste of what's gas like, you know.
I have to ask you. I have to ask you. How was your gun run?
Still recovering. It was my first half marathon.
Yeah, that's 21 Ks. Huh?
It was really the last 5 Ks for me was all mental. I haven't ran more than 15 Ks ever.
Yeah.
And but the gears and the vibe, running with Irfan Abrams, coaching you along the way, and taking your mind off the actual running was amazing.
No, well, that's congratulations. That's all I can say, Ricky.
So I don't know much about marathon. What's a gun run do? Like chase you, chase you.
I know. One of these days, forget the gun run. One of these days they're gonna have the Alsatian run. I know. That's Ricky. That's more back in your day. You used to run from the Alsatians. Now, there's no question about making that 100-meter sprint. You just put the dog behind you. All right, then, folks. Let's take a look at some of the other highlights now. We've got Marties against Eerste Rivier. Marties, of course, we know are going to be dangerous and are already sitting at the top of the log. right, folks, that was, of course, Marties against Eerste Rivier. Let's take a look at the logs now where the Marties guys compared to the Eerste Rivier guys are standing. Marties, of course, they're doing rather well. Belleville's on top, so Marties lying in second place at the moment. Just a little bit of a bonus points difference there between Belleville and Stellenbosch. So Belleville, Stellenbosch, Durban, Hands and Arts, and then Kuilsriver. Kuilsriver, of course, also had a great start to the Western Province Rugby Sevens. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at Kuilsriver, Scottsdene, and Tygerberg. Strand Macassar coming up next, folks. Right, remember Hisense, of course, the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. But a massive thanks to our other supporters, Belleville Glass. It was great seeing the Kayla boys out at Kuilsriver, Gray Smith and the boys, Grant Albertine, Donnie Isaacs, Wayne on the microphone, and of course Ralph Mahone, the president. So how awesome was that Kuilsriver hosted this fantastic Sevens tournament? Ish, great to be able to go to a venue like Kuilsriver and know that everything's going to be taken care of.
When Donnie Isaacs is around, you're going to have fun all day.
I can tell you one thing, when Donnie Isaacs is around, there's always a microphone close by.
Oh, he loves his voice though. Hey, let's give it to him.
Have you seen him do Frank Sinatra? Donnie Isaacs can do Frank Sinatra. But what a great venue, social space. It is a good venue for us to go play sevens.
Great vibe, awesome gears, music pumping, Skottelbras going along the way.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome vibe and very good venue of choice by Western Province.
Ricky, Helderberg this weekend, you say we can expect the same kind of space. There's parking, there's place to come and braai, there's enough space for people to put up gazebos, all that kind of thing, the whole social occasion. Of course, they've done the Helderberg Extreme Sevens there, so they've got experience at putting on events like this.
Definitely, and we saw a lot of people coming out. I think you're going to see much more people coming out that side of the world. They love their rugby.
Ish, do you think we're going to get to a point now where the clubs are going to be competing to host the sevens every weekend?
It could be because it could be a venue for fun generation.
Yeah.
And you can see from last week's turnout of events, there was a lot of people and they came in their droves. I mean, people from different communities all over Cape Town coming to one particular point and enjoying the day. It's great fun and can be good fun for the club as well to generate funds.
And then, of course, folks, massive thanks to CTC Sports, our official apparel supplier. So if you want to make sure that you get your rugby jersey, shorts and socks ready for next season, management kit, CTC Sports is the apparel supplier of choice to Cape Rugby TV. The guys that embroidered these jerseys for us. Ish, you look very smart on Saturday in your Cape Rugby top. I don't know, Ricky, where you were with your Cape Rugby shirt?
I don't know, someone promised me, I don't know about Father Christmas, but then again, it's not December yet. Someone promised me a medium size Cape Rugby t-shirt.
I know, I'm sorry.
How can we
Walked into that one.
It was me. No. You got to set it up, that's what I do as a presenter. I set them up so that I can make a joke. Anyway, Macassar and Strand, let's check the highlights. Victory there, Strand, against Macassar. Let's take a look now. Kuilsriver against Scottsdene.
JP, what a fantastic event today. The rugby was of the highest quality. There's some fantastic talent out there. I think Western Province can be very proud of today. And hats off to everybody. Great tournament, and I'm very impressed with the standard of the rugby.
Hats off there, hats off folks, hats off to Kales River for organising the day. Of course, it's Helderberg this weekend. Kickoff is at 12:45. All the teams will be back there to play against in the 7th series, and we'll then take a look next week at how the logs roll out. So this weekend, Helderberg, all the 7s guys are out there. Come and support and come and have a jaw. There's going to be Braaivleis, there's going to be, I don't know about jumping castles. Kales River, let's take a look at the Kales River results. Kales River had a massive win there against Noordelijkers, 61-0, and then Caleb Boys 33-0 over Scottsdene, but it was the final game of the match that they just didn't manage to pull through. Tygerberg beating Kales River 19 points to 12. All right, so the 7th series roundup. Let's take a look at some of the results there. Durbell, these are the matches now, folks, that we didn't see on TV. Durbell beating False Bay 17-12. They went on then to beat Silvertree. In fact, I think this was their first bye. False Bay had a good win over Solarians, 40 points to 0. Kraaifontein against Silvertree had still not arrived, but they managed to come later in the day, Silvertree. Peninsula went down to Western Province Academy. Silvertree then managed to, well, it didn't work for them their way, but they lost to Peninsula 29 points to 12. Solarians went down to Western Province Academy. Whistling Wheels 24-12 against UWC, and the Western Province Academy then went on to lose against Durbell 29 points to 12. The last game of the day was, of course, Kales River against Tygerberg. This was what the boys were very keen on seeing. Let's check out the highlights now. Kale Boys, Tygerberg.
Awesome. Fitness looking okay for the end of the year. But yeah, great stuff. Looking forward to next week. Pretty good. When I looked at the fixtures before, and I knew it was going to be tight, and most games were actually tight, so it was fun.
Well, it was an incredible day for Sevens Rugby. The series is now up and running this week. Charles Morkel Stadium in Helderberg. Kickoff is at 12:45. Make sure that you get down there. Congratulations then to this week's winner of the Hisense Infinity Pulse LTE L682. Riza De Leon walks away with a KitKat Android 4.4 and a 5-inch multi-touch screen Hisense Infinity Pulse. Hisense are, of course, the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. Congratulations, Riza. We'll be in touch telephonically, and you walk away with that Hisense Infinity Pulse. Folks, if you want to win for yourself a Hisense Infinity Pulse cell phone, go on to Facebook right now and just tell us who is the official technical partner to Cape Rugby TV. Ishmael, Dollie, are we going to see you on the weekend again, field side at Helderberg?
Definitely, looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to see all the supporters out there.
Ricky Petersen, that's of course your neck of the woods.
Yeah, definitely. I think you guys are leaving the night before.
Yes, we have to take our passport to come through to. I've already applied for my visa.
I'll have my breakfast and I'll be waiting for you guys.
In fact, Ish, if this was one of those, not the half marathons, but that long endurance, like the comrades, you could probably run from home for the next 3 days to get to Helderberg. But nevertheless, Helderberg, we're looking forward to getting out there, and so are the thousands of fans who are going to come and watch 7 Series. It's all on the go now. The Western Province Rugby 7 Series. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread was on for about 4 or 5 months while we had the league. Now we've got the best thing since sliced bread. The Western Province Rugby 7 Series. It's just going to grow from strength to strength. It is super exciting. Make sure that you get out there. Ishmael, Dollie, thanks for joining me. We'll see you on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Ricky Petersen, it's fantastic to have you here, and we'll have a shirt for you on Saturday.
Pleasure, JP. Now it's a pleasure being here.
Fantastic stuff. Hopefully we'll get Donnie Isaacs to join us in Helderberg as well. It's about as far as Heidelberg. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.